Guenther, thank you very much for joining us here on Speed City Broadcasting and Sirius XM. It's the build-up to the opening race of the season, and we're sheltering, actually, because it's freezing and so windy here in Bahrain. So we're hiding away in your office to, I would say, preview the first race, but we're not going to preview the first race. We're going to look back, because I want to just reflect, how crazy have your last 3 weeks been?
I would say I wouldn't say crazy. I mean, they were very busy, to say that. Crazy, I mean, we tried to keep the craziness out of it, but they were very busy. There was a lot of things going on, but I think we came out as good as we could get out of, and now we just have to wait for the first race weekend.
Yeah, it must be nice to be focusing on racing, even though I'm not letting you focus on it right now. But when you look at the cars looking very different now to what it looked like when you first launched it, or Alkali sponsorship obviously gone, what did you have to do as a team boss to basically navigate the team through the last few weeks?
Yeah, we had to take some tough decisions, after the invasion of the Ukraine. Obviously, there were a few things we had to change because it was just not possible to continue like we were before. We took the decision to take the sponsorship off of the car. We did that one at the first test, and then afterwards we decided to part company with the driver, and we had to employ a new driver, and we got to the second test with a new driver with a different looking car, as you just said, and now we're ready to go again.
You mentioned parting company with the old driver in Nikita. When Nikita then spoke to the press just after the announcement that he'd left the team, he said he felt he should have been given more support by Haas. What was your response to that?
My response is that, I wouldn't say we didn't give him support, but it's difficult. There's difficult circumstances, and I can understand that he doesn't feel happy about it, what happened. And I'm not happy because I wish every young man or woman the best for the future. But he ended up in a position, not of his fault, but he ended up in a situation where we couldn't take any other decision than that one, So, unfortunately, sometimes in life, you just need to swallow and move on with it, and that's what happened. So I can understand that he's not happy about it. I mean, who would be, if you lose an F1 drive, that's not something you wish to anybody. But it happened, and unfortunately, we need to move on.
It's quite a strange situation to be in as well, though. For you had the only available seat with a couple of weeks to go before a new season. Your car was looking quite strong. You must have had a lot of interested parties in that vacancy. How quickly did you narrow it down to Kevin Magnussen, and how much was going on around that seat in terms of people trying to come and take it?
I mean, the interest was very high. There's only 20 F1 seats available, and obviously when that happened, everybody, and rightly so, tried to contact me, but I think I know enough about the sport, and not wanting to sound arrogant, that I know which were the drivers on the market, because to drive an F1 car you need a super license, and there's not many people with a super license. It's not a short list, it's about 10 people. You obviously go through that list and see what is there, and then I spoke with my boss, the team owner Gene Haas, and said, we need a new driver, and we talked through, back and forward, strengths, weaknesses, where we want to be, and so on. And then Gene just said that I didn't have Kevin on the list in the beginning, because we spoke about Kevin, but I was like, he's in WC, and he said, what is Kevin doing? And I explained to Gene where he's driving. He said, do you think he would be interested and possible to go? I said, I have no idea, but I can find out pretty quick, and I phoned him up, and there where it was said, yeah, we can do this. And then, Gene, once he's going for something, I know what I have to do, and I fully agreed with him, because it was a very good choice, because there are so many positives with it. We had only 7 days to the next test, to the second test basically of the season. Kevin knows the team knows Kevin. Kevin was integral part of the team when we had our success, the third year finishing fifth. So he knows exactly what was going on. So it was very easy to deal with that one. And the only thing was he had contracts in place, but both the parties, Chip Ganassi and Peugeot, they were very good with it. They let him go out of their contracts, and then here we are. He was. It didn't take a lot of talk, and even the contract, it was the old contract, just with new dates in it.
Well, that makes it nice and easy, doesn't it? But Kevin's also quite a good symbol of where this team is now at compared to maybe where it was a few years ago, because you had to get rid of 2 experienced drivers and kind of try and find more funding. You'd admitted yourself, I think, at the time that the team was kind of at risk. But now you're signing an experienced driver again to replace a driver that brought funding. You're you're paying him, as I understand it. He's not needing to bring sponsorship directly. How clear a sign is it that the team's in a healthy situation?
I mean, you said it all. That is the sign. I don't need to speak to this anymore. You explained it very good. I mean, we want to get back where we were. We had 2 difficult years. It started with the pandemic in 2020, and then obviously for 21 we knew that we were in a bad position because we didn't do any development in 2020, neither for 20 or 21, and therefore we took the decision. We get 2 rookie drivers in and tried to do it that way, and had to or let the experienced drivers go. And if you ask them now, would you have wished to have been here in 21? They say no way. And I knew that. I mean, you have people like this of this caliber, and you give them a car when you actively tell them you will be last. That's not a good position to be. That will take away their enthusiasm. They will get bored. They will get it's just not a good feeling. So I think what we did, if I would go back, I would do the same thing again, for 21. But now we're in a different position. We are here to stay, and we are here. We had to get by the last 2 years. Now we need to get up again.
Well, now you have got by as such, and you have a more competitive looking car. You have this driver lineup. How different is the atmosphere within the team? How much has it kind of changed? How much more positive is it going into the 2022 season?
You continue to tell me how competitive our car is. What do you know what I don't know? I mean,
Well, is your car not competitive?
I don't know how. I don't know how competitive all these cars are competitive. I don't know how, but you're right. I mean, the testing was. We are cautiously optimistic now about it. So the whole team is just, really looking forward, because for the team it's tough. A year like last year, when at the beginning of the race weekend that you're just fighting for last and second last. So not even fighting because it's yours. So it's a good atmosphere, after the first test. Obviously, we still have a few issues. We need to work hard on reliability, but that you can just do by running, and we didn't do enough. But the atmosphere is very good. Having Kevin back, also Mick is in a good place, because he sees Kevin as a reference for him, which will make him grow faster as well. So I think all in all, we just need to deliver now.
Yeah, you mentioned Mick there. How much are you going to learn about Mick and his potential, but his actual overall performance level by having him alongside such a good benchmark in the form of Kevin?
I mean, obviously we will learn in 6 races. We will roughly know where we are at, and he will know where he's at. But for him, it's a good opportunity also to learn quicker. It's the same like if you have to learn something yourself, we are all able to learn, to teach ourselves something. But if you have a teacher or something which helps you, it's a lot quicker. The peer gets a lot quicker. So for him, it's a good advantage as well.
Does it put pressure on him though? Is it going to be a tough test for him to have someone who's so experienced and does know the team well? I know Kevin's come back in late, but he does know this team very, very well and has performed well here before.
Yeah, but in Formula One, that's part of the pressure. I mean, if you come here, you need to deal with this. If you don't want this, you shouldn't be here. This is just he needs to cope with that, and I think Mick will not have a problem to cope with that for sure. If he beats him, I mean, we know also where he is. If he doesn't beat him, at least he's got the chance to get to him with the help of the guy you want to beat, because you can see his data, you can see how he does the job. So I think for Mick, with having Kevin in, has nothing to lose here. He just to gain.
Now, you always seem to have a lot of work on your plate in this job, whether it's off-season or during the race weekends, and we've seen it with some of your driver lineups recently, that they've had run-ins, you've had to settle arguments. Now, you could argue that's partly because they're at similar stages, when it was Nikita and Mick together, or when it was Roman and Kevin in terms of 2 experienced drivers. Is it going to be the same this year? Do you let them just go for it on the track together, no team orders, nothing? Or is there a slightly different dynamic because you've got one experienced driver and one who's still kind of learning the ropes a little bit?
I think because both, as you said, were in these pairings where there were issues. I think they both learned out of it, and hopefully they don't have to getting together, because I think they both learned out of it that the first one damaged if you run into your teammate is yourself, because you don't come to the end of the race. You cannot score points. So I think they're both now, and I hope they sit down and find like a gentleman agreement between them, how they behave towards each other. And could there be a clash at some stage? Sure, but it's racing. But I think, and otherwise, if it happens, I just have to deal with it again. It's now term 3, and it gets quicker every time. The discussions get shorter every time. So no, but I don't think that there should be a big issue with it. But what I think and what is happening, something different. But no, I'm pretty cool about it.
Well, the two of them haven't had long to work together so far, but what's the relationship been like up to now that you've seen?
I think it's okay. I haven't spent a lot of time, I say, because everything is very short and there's a busy schedule for me as well. So I just see when they interact, it seems to be genuine. I mean, obviously, as I always say, they don't need to be the best friends forever. They just need to respect each other, and I think that is here from both sides.
And what are your expectations for this year, though, in terms of the car on the track? You said it looks more competitive, but you don't know how competitive. I'm sure you know a little bit more than we do because of the number crunching that the teams do. But what are your hopes rather than your expectations? What are your targets?
To be in the points as many times as possible, and if you're in the points, then the result comes automatically. You are in the championship standing in the midfield. But I would like to go back to the midfield, at least fighting in there and having fun on the weekend, because that is fun, if you fight for something.
Yeah, Kevin said the same actually when he said about coming back, that as long as you've got a car that can fight with other people, he really enjoys it. And the signs are good for that. But in terms of Haas fans who followed you the last couple of years, like you said, you wrote it off a little bit, focused on 2022. How different is the approach for the rest of this year? Is this a car that's going to be heavily updated through the year?
It will be updated. We update it when we think we've got enough to update it. Means development in the wind tunnel, because with the budget cap, you need to invest your money wisely. You cannot just put updates on, and obviously even without budget cap, we always try to invest wisely. But we are in the wind tunnel. We are running a full schedule. We are not holding back on anything. We just need to. We will be updating. Maybe some teams will be more, some teams will be less, but we will be in the mix there.
Obviously, the more partners you can have on board and the more money you can get that way, the more you can spend on the car as well. How are negotiations going on that front, in the sense that you've obviously had to do some reshuffling over the last few weeks? Are you positive about the future there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is good interest, very good interest actually, as good as it ever was. And going back to more money doesn't mean that you can spend endless, because we have got a budget cap in place now. So we are very close to that one anyway. So I don't see that one, but it's more like to run a team as a team, and we want to have partners, because that is what we are here to do.
I think some people probably worried about the team and its future a few weeks ago when everything kind of changed very quickly. How bright do you feel the future is for Haas right now?
Oh, the future is bright. I mean, the future is as good as when we started, Obviously, the people which worried, they were, I wouldn't say proven wrong, because we don't need to prove anything wrong, but we got a driver in which was with us before. So I think we are on a very good path, and we are here not just to stay, but to come up again.
And what about for Formula One itself? How bright do you think the future is for Formula One? What are your hopes, expectations? What's your excitement level for this season?
I think it will be I mean, look at the cars. I mean, the prediction was all 10 cars will look the same. I mean, we never had a more different looking field, in my opinion, So I think it will be a very interesting season, and I think it will grow from last year, because I think the sport is very interesting. There is a lot of things going on here, There is never a dull moment in this place. So hopefully that we have more than 2 teams to fight for the championship, and a lot of teams fighting in the midfield for the best of the rest. And it looks like that will happen. So I think it will be a very, very interesting season.
And exciting to have early on in the season Miami on the calendar too, another US-based race for you guys, and hopefully one where you can show a good level of performance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is specifically for Miami. We will be better than anywhere else. We want to be the best we can in each racetrack, but for sure it's nice to have a second race in the US. It's fantastic, and that shows also how much more interest is there. Miami Grand Prix sold out. I don't know, the tickets came on the market, and 2 weeks later everything was sold, and they could sell a lot more because people is just interested in Formula One, which I think it's very good.
Well, we look forward to that, and we look forward to this season. So, Guenther, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.